channel. My name is Favour, Ezra. I'm a student from the Department of International Relations and Diplomacy at Africa University, and we're going to be exploring a very interesting topic, which is artificial intelligence in African lenses. And with us here is...
Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Mr. Brighton Mukalela. I'm with the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences here at Africa University, majoring in artificial intelligence, where I'm lecturing there to undergraduate students, and with me here is Favour, where we are exploring, like she said, a very interesting topic in AI and AR.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Brighton, for agreeing to be a guest and to discuss this very interesting topic, which is very topical because it's contemporary. So I would like to ask you, what's your take on artificial intelligence? Do you deem it as a blessing or a curse to Africa?
Very interesting question. AI as a blanket, you would notice that it is quite both a blessing and a disguise again, but more of it is indeed a blessing to our continent, I can say so.
Okay,
yes.
That's very interesting. As we all know, there have been debates as to if AI is a blessing or a curse. So what has been your experience in artificial intelligence? Do you have any expertise in it, or it's just something you have passion for?
Wonderful. As you can note, AI is quite an upcoming area, and indeed I'm a researcher within that area who is coming from the IS part, going graduating into the artificial intelligence area, where I'm actually looking at machine learning within the health science, finance, and education industries. Particularly, I'm more interested in looking at how this AI is going to be of a blessing to our African communities. Yes.
So with the current state of Africa, there have been issues of load shedding, as you can tell. There is high illiteracy level. So how do you perceive AI in the context of African societies, like our really rural African societies? How do you perceive AI? Do you think it's feasible? Do you think it's really a realistic idea for AI to be implemented?
I guess so. It is. Why? Because you would notice that should we harness AI from the grassroots and probably take into conclusions the area you are saying before Africa is infested with load shedding. If we were to go down and look at it from the perspective of us harnessing some small devices and harness what is known as the Internet of Things, you would notice that we would be in a position to use probably unsupervised devices where they learn from amongst themselves and be able to use little, if not much of power from probably harnessing solar energy and the like, where such small IoT devices would be able to communicate amongst themselves and probably shed light to whatever that AI solution is coined to. I think it is going to be, we will get thus far.
Interesting. As our guest have said, there's hope for AI. So coming from a country, Nigeria, where cybercrime is very high, where people use the internet abusively, they use it to exploit other people. And now we are saying artificial intelligence is something that is programmed to have like a human mind. So how do we now put it in a context where people can abuse it or use it to exploit others? Because Nigerians are known for high rates of cybercrime. So giving them something that will allow them to do it freely without being traced, I feel like it's kind of not. So in a way, as an IR student, I perceive it to be that it's a colonial instrument, because it's more like it's making us more poorer or more exploitative of ourselves. What's your take on that?
My take is such technologies, such upcoming technologies need to be scrutinized by governments. And we are lucky for the nation you have spoken of. Nigeria has put in place a data protection unit where such AI rules are being coined to encompass and be engraved in the society, such that we become responsible users in a way. So I feel, in as much as you might feel that it is probably a colonial something, it is in a way coming in to bless our societies too, should we remain responsible users according to how probably these governments are harnessing it and putting it up into the legislative. You would not soon notice that soon economies like Nigeria, Uganda, you speak of Kenya, they are fast implementing some rules to do with how they can use the AI and become part of their legislative. So once that is achieved, I feel there is going to be a low rate of cyber crimes, and AI would really be a blessing.
Okay. That's very interesting, but I feel like in an African context, it's one thing to have policies made towards something, and it is one thing to implement it. Because Nigeria can have that policy, but then the implementation can be very hard, considering the fact that it has high corruption rates. So, and the leaders who are in power are using devious means to do whatever they want to do. So I think this AI can also manipulate databases, which means it's easy for them to become technological thieves now, not pen thieves. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, in as much as you are thinking from the perspective of the user, we can also use AI from the perspective of good governance, where they can harness what I can say the best tools is government officials to curb best AI tools to curb AI-based or cyber crimes. So don't only look at it from the perspective of the user and saying the ordinary user or the ordinary citizen might harness AI and use it for the wrong thing. But take it from the other side of the story and probably let's think positively and say in due course governments may as well accumulate the proper AI governance tools and use them within their governments to enhance and curb cyber crime. That's my feeling, and this is coming. You would notice big states like the United States, they are using AI to their positive advantage within good governance. So the same thing can cascade into our African nations too, though it might take time. I would like to appreciate that. Yes.
Right. Okay. Take time. So in the context of legal personality of AI, I think that is one of the burning issues that we need to consider. Because looking at, I think the US deployed some armed drones to other places that they feel are crime related, like Iraq, Afghanistan, and then those AI, they don't know how to differentiate between those people who are the ones that they're actually meant to go and destroy, and then the innocent ones. And then also the masses also can actually use it for devious means. So who now in that scenario, who do you catch? Do you catch the programmer, or should I say the developer, or do you catch the drone? Because there's no way you can give a jail sentence to a drone or an AI operated thing. So what's your take on that legal personality, since it's able to think like humans, it's able to do almost more than what humans can do? So what's your take on legal personality?
Yeah, in a way, it's still a problem, but you notice that research has gone thus far to include what is now known as natural language processing, where things you are speaking about, like drones, that's my real area of study, where I'm looking at the proxemics of how probably the legal persona you are speaking about would interact with things like drones. You would notice that with natural language processing, these drones are fast able to detect and probably be in a position to interact and decipher whether this is an enemy or not. So AI has gone thus fast to the extent of inclusion of natural language processing, so that at the end of the day, we will be in a position to really harness and say this is the convict in a crime scene. So I'm quite pessimistic to the extent that very soon we would soon see drones interacting with everyone within our communities, and not only being deployed for security reasons, but rather soon we would see them in delivery, we would soon see them in the transport industry, we would soon see them in finance, in education, etc., etc. So a lot of research is going on, a lot of algorithms are being developed as we speak, where these drones per se are going to be able to decipher and actually take into cognizance whether this is a legal persona or not.
Okay, so how then do we track the activities of those AI? Like, if at all there is some sort of malfunction, because I feel like even as humans we have malfunction, so with machines it's inevitable. So if like those drones actually go and do the exact opposite of what they're supposed to do, how then do we track it? Like, because I feel like there might be a gap between the person who actually developed it and then the person who is operating it, which causes an accountability gap. So how do we deal with that?
You would notice that if we were to speak of AI in drones, like what you have brought up, you will notice that they've moved from a stage whereby they have been, previously drones have been remote operated.
Yes.
And now we are speaking of autonomous drones. By autonomous, I mean they are self-driven. They know, they scan their environment and make decisions from their own environment. No, right in the beginning when we started this interview, I spoke of Internet of Things. So it's a graduation of those Internet of Things and putting that same intelligence, we call it swarm intelligence, whereby a swarm of drones or a swarm of artificial intelligence driven drones are actually going to be moving and learning from amongst themselves without them needing a physical or a remote control. So AI has developed thus far to the extent that we as developers of AI tools, we sort of take a lot of time developing the technology, then let it learn from the data that we would have provided it. After it has learned, then it will be in a position to use that set of data and make its own decisions without the hands of any person. So that would have taken a bit of some time, and we would only deploy the technology having seamlessly tested it several times. Hence, once we deploy it, we would be rest assured to say this technology is going to be working fine. I do not disagree with you completely to say there might be a gap. Indeed, there might be a gap. No wonder why we keep on taking our time in labs, doing simulations, and looking at it to say, would this technology be in a position to do exactly what humans really want to achieve?
Okay, all right. That's a very interesting take. So viewers, stay glued to your screen. We are going for a very short commercial break and we'll be right back. See you soon.
Okay.
Are you interested in shaping global relations and understanding international diplomacy? Good news. The Department of International Relations and Diplomacy at Africa University is offering the following programs: Bachelor of Science Honors Degree in International Relations, Master of Science in International Relations and Diplomacy, Master of Science in Migration, Citizenship and Refugee Protection, Master of Science in Negotiation and Mediation, Master in Peace, Leadership and Governance, Executive Master in Peace, Leadership and Governance, PhD in Peace, Leadership and Governance. For more information, visit our website at www.africau.edu.
Hi viewers, welcome back. So we still have our guest here, an AI expertise. Thank you for staying tuned with us. So moving on to the case of brain drain, in the sense that in Africa we already have issues whereby the West looks more like a greener pasture for us to go to, and then this AI are slowly replacing humans. They are doing what we are supposed to do as humans, and looking at it from an African perspective, it causes our potential creative humans to leave, because there are actually things that can do what I can do. So they actually go there and they end up developing their own economy there, and we are left here with just AIs replacing us. And I don't think it's actually good for economy, because what we need is actually skills, which they have, because they develop because our skills. I think half of the skill pool is usually coming from Africa. So what's your take on that, on AI causing unemployment in Africa?
Okay, we wouldn't say per se it would create a huge gap and create maximum unemployment in Africa, but rather, my perspective, it would complement the need for what we call knowledge workers. Yeah, appreciate. In the sense that, in as much as the general populace has got the feeling that AI is going to replace our jobs.
Yes.
Not necessarily that, because you would notice that in every production line there would therefore be a need for a human hand somehow. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel that there would be a complete replacement of humans by robots or by AI tools. In one way or the other, we would definitely need a human hand. Think of probably jobs like lecturing, like I'm doing. It is true to say a student might turn an assignment and an AI tool would probably
exactly. It causes laziness.
Yes, it might probably, and it will probably promote you as students not to do your work. But in one way or the other, you would notice that current generative pre-trained tools, what we call the GPTs in AI, they are not in a position to work exactly as a human being would do. I would give an example whereby you would need it to draw some schematic diagrams and the like. Of course, yes, it might be in a position to point to you that include that, but not coming up with the exact diagram per se. You understand? So, in a way, we would need an exact engineer to come in, or an expert to come in and analyze what AI would have come up with. So, the only problem that I would see coming in Africa would be us being left with the low-level thinkers, whereas the very smart students like you, having graduated at AU, probably would go to your country. You would as well fly probably to other greener pastures. Hence, probably Nigeria would have lost out. Okay, and probably we are saying if AI is going to come in and chip in where you guys, we feel we are the smartest ones,
yes,
haven't gone, we are saying AI is therefore then going to be assisted by those mediocres who would have left within the country, and joining hands with their AI tools, the economy would still be at par.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
Okay.
That's my feeling. If you would look at it from that perspective.
Okay. Because I'm looking at it from an IR perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that it is what we should call realism at play, because I feel like this is just a tool that the West are actually bringing to just make sure that we are lagging behind, because obviously we have lots of issues as Africans that we are dealing with, and not all areas are tech oriented. So how do you think we can address that, the fact that not everyone is tech oriented, and then there is actually an AI initiative which is prone to abuse? Because obviously if you don't know the use of something, abuse is so how do you handle that in the African society, ensuring that almost, I know we are not going to reach a level where it's 100% that everyone is tech oriented, but half of the population need to be tech oriented. If not, it is prone to abuse, and I think it's going to be disastrous, because we as Africans, I feel to an extent, we are very extreme. So
okay, yeah, I think it all goes back to our how the legislators, so to say, are going to be addressing the issues to do with the so-said STEM, science, technology, mathematics. How it is going to be addressed within each of these African contexts? Because you would look at looking from the perspective of AI, it is coming from one of those blenders. So, what the African governments needs to do is to probably enforce more of training and encouraging youngsters into learning of such or technologies, whereby it becomes probably mandatory to say AI tools are now being part of the educational system.
But currently, the African government doesn't allow for youth participation. For example, you draw an example from Nigeria where you said there's a policy already there, but then that same country has a very high population of youth unemployment, where you finish school, you don't have a job. It's more like your skill is different from the market demand.
Yes.
So it seems like you are just totally jobless. So how do we ensure, because our government in Africa is corrupt, honestly speaking, where youth participation is very relatively poor, and then looking at it even from a feminist point of view, women's participation is very poor, especially in the STEM you mentioned. So how do we handle that to ensure that we have a government where the youth can participate? Because I feel like it's the youth that are going to utilize this AI, and if they are not really trained well, just like you said, under the government supervision, they can misuse it, they can scam people with it, they can commit various crimes. So how do we ensure that the youth participate with our current African government?
Yeah, in a way, though it is a bit, it is an issue of country to country perspective, but blanketly I can say what needs to be done by our African societies is to, number one, appreciate and embrace these technologies. To say, really, it is nowhere, it is not going to go anywhere. And appreciate it, to say, whilst we are having it, let us now try and make a positive use out of it, other than only living and watching the negatives, as you are saying, the use abusing AI and the like. So my feel remains on the legislators themselves to say, let them come up with some policies, some legislation that is going to be inclusive, and probably encourage the youth to train in how these technologies are being manipulated for economic growth.
Since you appear on the positive side of what AI can do to Africa as a continent, so can you share with us successful countries where some of this AI has been used by the government in a proper way to ensure whether the political, social, or economic aspect of the country is okay?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. We've got quite a number of instances or examples. Okay. I will start with here, just near south. In South Africa, you are noticing that it is using it so much within their national game reserves in conserving the suicide species, where they are guarding their animals within the zoos, within the game parks, and tracking them because these are some of the special species they want to always be engrossed. We can also go to Uganda and Kenya. They are using drones, AI-enabled drones within the health facilities to deliver medications to remote places where we do not have proper road connections and these are autonomous drones which are such that they are carrying drugs from hospitals and flying them all the way to remote places without the need of a remote controlled. All they need is the address of the patient, and the drone is going to descend and return safely. Okay, we also have countries like I've spoken about Kenya, is it? Yeah. Where they are using it in self-driven cars. You see, they now have buses which are self-driven. Those are all successful examples of artificial intelligence where it is being used in a positive manner. So we are foreseeing other African countries embracing the same, but it all starts from the change in the legislation. Because you would notice that we are talking about our AI, we are saying it is using probably examples of these drones. They are affecting our aerospace. Yes. So it also needs the legislators to amend their legislation so as to be accommodative and include these autonomous vehicles which are AI driven.
That's very interesting. I feel
so
like
there are quite a number. There are quite a number of examples. Only that most of these African nations, they are a bit skeptical in their ideas about change of their legislature, and for the reason of the security, so to say, you would notice that they are a bit afraid.
Okay, that's cool. We'll be taking another short break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for a startup ecosystem to help turn your brilliant idea into a sustainable business? Well, why not head over to the Africa University's Innovation Hub, or as we like to call it, the i5 Hub, Enterprise from the Valley of Dreams. Our mission is to co-create open technologies or innovations with some of Africa's and the world's greatest minds, generating solutions to transform business and improve the quality of life. Now, as the i5 Hub will run on certain values such as ingenuity, integrity, leadership, commitment, and obviously we are a God-fearing, spirit-centered organization within Africa University. Now, the name i5 itself stands on the 5 I's that describe the process that we follow as we turn your idea into a business. The first one being ideation, followed by incubation. The third one is innovation, followed by intellectual property, with the last one being industrialization. Now, at the i5 Hub, you have quite a vast number of resources available for you as the students, from our MacBooks to our 3D printer for prototyping to a cool and fun and amazing working space just for co-creating. We have all that at Africa University. You also have the opportunity to have networking sessions with people, with experts within that area that you would want to pursue. So why not head over to the Innovation Hub and turn your idea into a business? See you there.
Thank you very much, sir, for your input so far. One thing that has also been a burning issue that I think is related to AI has to do with our climate. Because most of this AI, they emit lots of energies, or you have to put in together things that would disturb our climate. So, and Africa is already suffering from climate change, considering the fact that our industrialization is a bit less, but we are suffering from things that the West has done to us. For example, erosion, and due to uprooting of trees and taking them out to make timbers and all that. So, what's your take on that? Considering the fact that AI is energy driven, so how do you see it in the context of Africa?
Okay, in the aspect of climate change,
yes,
you will notice that AI is indeed coming in as an aid to curb such, because we now have AI tools that are going to be monitoring deforestation, for instance, in huge forests, to say do we have, how much is our level of deforestation, should there be? I would give an example of here in Zimbabwe, we've got an organization called EMA, environment, I think you know that, Environmental Management Agency. Yes, slowly they are uptaking the use of artificial intelligence in monitoring deforestation, in monitoring issues like how much emission of some unwanted gases are in the atmosphere. So, in a way, we are saying, in as much as AI tools are power hungry, you would notice that there is not much of an imbalance as to the amount of energy that these tools do require vis-a-vis what they need to monitor. You see, so took off sea levels, took off some disasters. We now have AI tools that are capable of monitoring disasters. Yes, we have got. Had we had a proper meteorological AI-driven tools, we could have depicted or predicted the coming of Cyclone Idai well before we put in place what could have been put in place. So, in a way, we are saying if it is properly harnessed, AI tools are really a blessing in curbing climate change.
Okay, that's very nice. Thank you very much, sir. So, what is your advice to the African government? What is it that you feel they can do to ensure that we gain the good side of AI rather than just looking at the bad side? It might be a colonial tool that's been brought, but we can still use it to our advantage. What would be your
I think there is need for strategic partnerships.
Okay.
With those guys who would have succeeded in implementation of such expert tools like AI. You notice that organizations like, let's begin from our own aspect perspective, African Union should probably come up with solutions that are going to be African-based and probably come into partnerships with stronger units like the World Bank. We speak of African Development Bank and strategize on how best they can fund their AI growth into the future. That's my take.
Okay, thank you.
It's only pivoting on the idea of partnership.
Okay, so AI is still a blessing despite the issues that are regarding. We feel that there is hope for others.
Definitely it is. It is in our mindsets and the governments themselves and the end user per se, to say how best can we harness this in a positive manner other than how we perceive it.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, sir, for gracing us with your expertise. We are very grateful. I'm sure the viewers have learned quite a lot about AI. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you
so much.
Okay, so thank you, viewers, for staying tuned. Let me know what you think in the comment section about AI. I still remain your host, Favour Ezra. Thank you. Bye.
Are you looking for a club to join? Well, you are in the right place. Africa University Dance Club is the club of your choice. It's not only a club, but it is a family of different nations all together. A family that expresses their feeling through dance. Beginners, intermediates, professional dancers are all welcome. As we venture into all types of dance styles. Rumba, Afro, Amapiano, Compa, Dancehall. You name it. Come join us. As we work on both your physical health and as well as your mental health. Africa University Dance Club is the club.
AU Dance Club.